Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new premium Czech Tier 8 heavy tank, the Skoda T56. Now this tank is just such a lovely tank. It's a really good tank. It's a lot of fun. It's got two options of a gun. It's got a single shot and an autoloader. For me personally, the autoloader is better just because the double tap power, the power that it can get out is so incredible. It does have a couple of drawbacks like its penetration, but we'll see when we get into the stats. And that is one thing that Wargaming haven't updated their Tankopedia yet, and so this tank isn't on there yet, so we can't have a look at the index stats like we normally would. I don't actually have the time to make this video any later than I am now over the next 2 days, and I want to get this out for you. The capture card is a little bit laggy as well for some reason. No idea why. Tried. Just one of them days, you know what I mean? Is what it is. But yeah, this tank is great. So what we're going to do is actually look at the stats on the stats page, because most of the stats are on the stats page now, which is really good. But obviously it updates with what I have on the setup. So you'll actually see what it can be at its best with all the newfangled technology that you can put on it, right? So yeah, this is the skin for the Skoda. The skin for the Skoda is really nice, except the only thing that annoys me is the springs on the end. I don't know why there's springs on the end of the skin, but it is what it is. Like, they're there. But other than that, it's a really good looking tank. So, let's get into the equipment of the tank. Well, on the tank, in the equipment, I run the optics, vertistabs, and the ammo swapper. And yes, the ammo swapper works on the autoloader. It really does. And it's a really nice feature for the autoloader. It's what I would recommend guaranteed running, because as you can see in the top right corner, 208 pen, 248 premium pen. The 208 standard pen is a bit iffy, and you will struggle when you're bottom tier and against tier 9s with that. But if you have the ammo swapper, you can just switch to the 248 premium pen rounds, and you can have your wicked way with them. Because 248 pen is enough for most tanks to be able to pen them, and you'll do really well with that. And you can use the ammo swapper. The one thing with the ammo swapper is that when you are in the clip, so basically if you fire one shell, don't expect it to work because it will just automatically start reloading you. But if you have a clip fully loaded, you can switch to whatever round you want. It's very nice. If you're running the single shot, I'd probably recommend either vents or a traction system, to be perfectly honest. Or the GLD, because the aim time is long, and you can use the GLD to get that better, or you can use the vents to get better reload and better everything generally, or the traction system to make the 35 kilometers an hour top speed better, up to like 38, which is, you know, decent. But yeah, vertistabs because this gun is derpy, and then optics as well to make the view range as good as possible. Because with the cruise skills and the optics, we've got 473 meters view range, which is good. But there's a lot of tanks that have better, so it's nice to have that just to not get out spotted. So let's go have a look at the stats of the tank in this viewer here. Like I say, most of the stats are already here anyway, which is decent. The only problem for that is that you don't see the raw stats. You see exactly what it is when in the setup I've got it, right? So it's got 650 horsepower, which we're going to go from top left downwards. It's got 650 horsepower, which is decent with a 13.54 horsepower per ton. You do hit the 35 kilometer an hour top speed pretty well. You tend to stick between 34 and 35 depending on the terrain you're on. The mobility for a heavy tank is okay. Like, obviously, you might be thinking, well, 35 is slow, but it's a heavy tank, right? You're not always expecting heavy tanks to go at 40 to 45 to 50, especially with a gun that slaps as hard as this does. And you can get about with that. But that's why I say run something like the traction system as well on the single shot, because you can get up to 38 kilometers an hour. It will hit that, and having that little bit extra mobility in a lot of situations is a pretty nice thing to have. So yeah, it's got 15% fire chance, which the fuel tanks are in the front, I've noticed. I seem to get set on fire through the front, so just bear that in mind. We're going to stick with this top page first. So hit points 1500, which is actually quite low for a heavy tank at tier 8. A lot of them tend to pack in 16, 17, 1800, you know. 1500 is quite low. You've got the exact same as a Tiger 1 at tier 7 below you. But, you know, it's a decent slab of hit points. You just got to be aware when you're facing one of these things that it will 3-shot you. Just bear that in mind, because you'll be seeing a lot of them. Because, yeah, you will be seeing a lot of them. The hull rotation speed is 26 degrees a second, which is fairly slow. Again, that's why having the traction system and having the 10% extra top speed is definitely nice. The soft terrain resistance is 1.74, medium 1.01, and firm terrain 1.01. which is decent, and, well, it's pretty good, actually, and that's with having the off-road driving skill. So that basically negates a lot of the ground resistance against you and helps you with that top speed. Detectability range, well, you're a heavy tank, you shouldn't be really looking at your camo. View range, 473 meters, 0.83 with the setup we've got with coated optics, situational awareness, born leader, food, you know, so that's a pretty decent view range. So in terms of the turret rotation, you've got a 26 degrees a second turret rotation, and accuracy during rotation is 0.73, which isn't the best. You've got 15 degrees of elevation and 8 degrees of gun depression. The 15 degrees of elevation sometimes feels a little bit low. There's a couple of times on ridge lines and stuff where you're starting to look up that you do notice the gun depression is a little bit poor. I mean, not gun depression, gun elevation, I should say. The gun depression at 8 degrees is far from poor. 8 degrees of gun depression on this tank is really flexible, really helps this tank on a ridgeline, and it really helps you with the strength of the armour of the tank. So, you've got a reload of 20.72 fully pimped, 20.72 reloads, which is really, really good, because you've got a 920 clip. So you will be reloading in 20.72 seconds, and you've got a 0.27 accuracy with the fully pimped out way we've got the tank. So with vert stabs, like I say, born leader, food, 0.27 isn't bad. But you do feel the gun's derpiness a little bit. The gun is a little bit derpy, trust me on that, and you will feel it. Especially that 2.76 aim time, and that's as good as we can get it unless we put GLD on, which is why I say the GLD might be a good idea. 2.76 aim time is a little bit slow, and it is a little bit painful at times. So just bear in mind that you don't want to be snapping shots all too often in this tank. You want to make sure your shots are aimed and just get your double taps in. So you've got 2 shots in a clip, like I say, which is a double tap, and it is deadly. It's so deadly. Don't underestimate this tank when you come against it. Don't underestimate how good this double tap is. It's got a 3.5 second intro clip, which is fairly long. But like I say, if you're all hulled down on a ridgeline and stuff like that, you've got the time to pump those shots in. And you've got 460 alpha for the 2 shot. You're going to have a longer intro clip for the tier. And it's just filthy. It really smashes tanks. You can 2-shot, I say 2-shot, you can 2-clip so many tanks. You can even do it in 3 or 4 shots. Tier 6s have no hope against you. Tier 7s will struggle, but you'll demolish them eventually. And yeah, Tier 8, 9s, 10s, you know, you play a bit more support, you can get those 2 shots in. And trust me, if you start shooting Tier 10s with this double tap, you will really hurt them quite a lot, and they will know about it. So you've got a 30 ammo capacity, which is very low. You will notice how low that is, especially if you have prolonged games. 30 just isn't quite enough, maybe if you have 40 or 50. I'm not a fan of limiting tanks' ammo capacity to sort out the balance. It's not a good way of doing it. 30 is just not quite enough. You've got AP, APCR, and HE. If it's the same as it's on PC, it's actually AP and AP, so you've got a premium AP round. And the UI, for some reason, in this game, since 6.0, if you've got a second round that is AP, that is your premium, it just states it as APCR. If you look at an ISU 130, for example, and the box tank, SU 100Y, they've both got AP standard and AP premium, but it says AP and APCR, which is not true. I'm pretty sure this is actually a second round of AP, so don't expect the benefits of APCR, and the fact that AP has, you know, better normalization than the APCR. So you've actually got 2,277 damage per minute, which isn't bad. It's not good, but no, it is pretty good. It's pretty decent for an autoloader, and you can just slap up all the time, which is great. I say 208 standard AP pen and 248 premium pen. 208 standard pen is low, and you will feel that bounces a lot. 248 is the way forward when you're facing the higher tiers especially, and you'll probably find that a lot of these tanks will just spam 248 premium AP because the penetration is just lackluster on the standard round, and the premium round is fantastic. Is what it is. So in terms of the max speed of the ammo, you've got 1,020 shell velocity on the AP and the premium AP, and the HE is 863. Now, I don't carry any HE because there's just not enough rounds in the tank for that. So I just carry the 2 standard AP rounds, or the 2 AP rounds, not the 2 standard ones. And 1,020 shell velocity is decent for the 130mm gun that you've got on this tank, which is lovely, lovely stuff. And like I say, this tank actually has 2 gun options. As you can see, it's a 130mm gun. If you were to load the single shot, you actually have better accuracy by a little bit. So you've got 0.26 instead of 0.27. You've got 2.4, nearly 2.5k DPM instead of the 2.2, nearly 2.3. The single shot has the same aim time. Let's say, if you look at the base reload, it's 11.19 seconds reload. The other one was 20.76, so you actually reload a little bit slower than the double tap, essentially, if you're in the similar scenario. That's why I say the double tap is so much better and just a lot more effective in situations. Yeah, sure, you do reload, you know, that one shot, and it can be a little bit more flexible here and there, and you can probably make the aim time better running a GLD instead of the ammo swapper. But for me, the double tap is the way forward, just because it is a lot better than this thing is, that single shot, that is. And it's just, yeah, it's just nicer to have. So in terms of a crew that I run on this tank, well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanic, Off-Road Driving, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Steady Aim. Now, I run the gun perks because the gun perks are needed because this gun is derpy, and having all of these gun perks is exactly what you need. Off-road driving, like I say, to help it to that max top speed, you need to do that, definitely. Track Mechanic, because, well, these 5 are just what you take on at every single tank, to be perfectly honest with you, near enough. In terms of the price of this tank, this price for this tank is dirt cheap. 6.6k gold on the loaded bundle, and I think on the standard normal single package for the tank, it's actually going to be like 6,200 gold, and that's not a bug. They have said that that is going to be the discounted price of it. It's part of the discount. It's really, really cheap. It's a very, very cheap tank, and it's a very, very good tank. This is one that a lot of people are going to snap up immediately because they're not paying 12, 13k. I mean, there's so many tier 8 heavies that are 12 or 13k or 11k or 10k. This thing is way cheaper, and they are going to sell like hotcakes. Everyone is going to have it because this tank is really good. It's really effective on the battlefield. Yeah, it's really cheap. And to be honest, I think it's totally worth it. It's a really damn good tank, and it's just so cheap. It's really worth it, to be honest. It's a sign of probably what the line is going to be like, which is great. And the Czech heavy line is going to be so much fun. But yeah, this tank is really good. Sorry I don't have the normal stats like I would, but Wargaming have been slow to update their Tankopedia, and I just don't have the time to make any other, to wait for it to update. And yeah, I'm going to send you into the replays now. So we're going to have 2 replays with the Autoloader, because like I say, I think that's the gun that you should probably use. And we're going to have one with the single shot just to show you what it's like. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. Okay, so the one thing I did forget to mention before we go into the replays, and I did realise after I've done the recording for the replays, and that is the armour profile for the heavy tank. Because it is a heavy tank, we want to have a look at the armour, right? So this is Tanks GG. Like I say, this tank is completely unchanged from PC. There is no difference between it. Had a look at the armour model. All the plates are exactly the same. So we're going to use their armour model viewer just to show you what this tank can do in terms of its armour. So the upper plate, if you're flat on, is 180 to 185 depending on where you're shooting. The upper plate and the lower plate aren't the best, but as soon as you start to use your gun depression, they become really good. This tank is a hull down warrior, because look at that. That is going to ricochet every shot. That's going to be covered. And this turret is so, so good. It is a hull down warrior, like I say. That is the strength of the tank. Get hull down and just slap out the rounds. Because if you are on flat, they are going to butcher your lower plate. And if you're on a slight angle like that, you are going to struggle to pen yourself. And you're going to see that in one of the replays as well, that we'll struggle to pen this upper plate if you're up above and shooting and stuff like that. The armour on this tank is really nice. Like I say, you just got to be aware that that upper plate is kind of cheese. And when you're facing tier 9s and 10s, they're going to butcher it. Against tier 6s, they're really going to struggle. And tier 7s, some of them will and some of them won't. If you're a Soviet tank firing AP, they probably will. Just be careful of the cupola on top, because that is a weak spot and it will get penned. If people are above you, it's very easy to hit. But yeah, just be aware of that cupola. And if you are shooting at one of these things and they are hull down, and say they're even just using a little bit of gun depression, just aim for that cupola and try and hit it and you will pen it. That is the weak spot for the tank. So yeah, just be aware of that. But like I say, when you are hull down, this turret is godly. Just look at that turret. That is nigh on impenetrable. Nigh on. The best thing that people can do is shoot you just to the right of the gun, because it's just near, well, just past the spaced armour, and they might pen it, but they've got it's a slim, slim shot. even on flat ground, this turret is so goddamn good. It's just auto ricochet angles everywhere. Its turret is its strength, and going hull down is what you want to do for this tank. In terms of side scraping, it can also do that because of this weird shape of the hull, and it will ricochet a lot while you are side scraping. You can bait people to shoot this, and like I say, they will struggle, and you can get a lot of damage blocked by doing this. Side scraping is definitely an option for this tank. In terms of reverse side scraping, you could try it, but the more and more you sort of show little bits, they will be able to just go straight through it, and they can overmatch this little bit on top of the decking as well, which is a bit of a problem. But yeah, the armour on this tank is also really good. Like I say, if you get caught out in the open, they will pen your upper plate and lower plate, but when you go hull down, this tank is insane, and it's really, really good. But yeah, that is the armour model for the tank. Now you can go to the replays and enjoy those. I'll see you there. Have fun. So here we are in the first replay, and the first replay we are using the Autoloader. We're top tier, we're on Arctic region, and my plan is to go along the B line, because along the B line I can get hull down at B5, and I can get hull down also at C2 in the little dip, and I'm hoping that I can use the good turret armour on this tank, the good hull armour on the tank when you are hull down, and just be able to keep slapping out the rounds, because like I say, the reload on this tank is dirty for this double tap. That 20-second reload is just filthy for 460 in 2 shots, each shot. It's been a lot of fun to play. Against tier 9s and 10s, I will put it out that mostly tier 10s, to be honest. Tier 9s it's not too bad against. Tier 10s, it can be a bit painful, but that's the same as every other low pen gun, because a lot of the tier 10s you will have to fire premium, and obviously your limited ammo capacity can let you down in that regard, as you can burn through the rounds very, very quickly. And also, obviously, that's why I say I ran a few games without the ammo swapper with this autoloader, and when I did get bottom tier, I just couldn't change my rounds, and that was annoying. And yeah, being able to change the rounds against the tanks you're facing is definitely something you want. And that's why I do it, because I can think, oh, right, I need to pen this guy. Okay, switch to the premium AP and then pen, you know. So, we got one round into the P43, but he managed to get back in time, lucky for him. And now we're on the move. We're going to get closer to these guys, because that's what this gun likes to be. This gun likes to be close range, in people's faces. It's not really the sniper or the long-range shooter, because it's a big 130mm brawling heavy tank gun. So, we pull up on top of this ridgeline. I'm just looking for shots at the IS-5. I can't quite get it. And there's this P43 Biss over here. He doesn't quite keep pulling back there, which ends up throwing off the shot. And I'm just trying to clip his turret. We take a shot, and we do. We must have hit the ridgeline in front of him. It's just where trying to find those little weak spots with the gun can let you down. That's why I say it struggles against tier 10s, because you have to hit the weak spots, and you have to hit the exact spot. And this gun being as derpy as it is at times, it can be a problem. So, these two are pulling forward. It's like, oh, hell no. Okay, no. And then this IS-5 makes a mistake. We get one into his lower plate. And then because we've got a 130mm gun, it's no problem going through his tracks and penning him and tracking him in place. The big caliber on this gun also really helps so much. Like, that IS-5 had no hope. And he's lost pretty much most of his health. We did, like, 900 damage to him. It's just how quickly. And then we're already back in the fight. You know, 2, 1, and here we go. It's like, hello, Mr. Tiger 2. The shell flies off to the far right there. I have no idea. I feel like that's the shell desync again, because we probably just missed it, but because of the way the shell appears on our screen, it flew to the far right outside where the reticle was. It's just one of those things. But we do get the second shot straight through the cupola of this stock Tiger 2. Because this Tiger 2 has the stock turret, which means we can actually overmatch this roof deck. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we put one in, and it's like, well, okay then, number 2. Finished him off. How quickly are we reloading these shells? How quickly? You know, we're not out of the fight for that long. And we are actually reloading 2 shells quicker than we would do if we were firing 2 shells from the single shotgun. But obviously, you've got to count the intra clip as well, to be fair, because, you know, there's the intra clip in there for when you're dumping the shells. But it is what it is. We managed to finish off the IS-5. We've got one left, and I can't see through this smoke to see where this Inferno is. And we end up shooting the dead wreck of the Tiger 2. That was just the smoke there that we couldn't quite make out where he was, where the dead tank was, where the ridgeline was, and we just ended up missing him. But we've nearly got the shells back in again. This P43 made a cheeky move to get up behind me. but unfortunately for him, he ended up just getting absolutely smashed up by someone in the distance, and then the S51, who... that was pretty horrible for that person. He didn't have a good time. So it's 2.5k damage and 2k assistance, because we were spotting all these guys in front of us for the 2 guys behind us, and now we're going in on this Inferno. We've got the premium rounds in to make sure that we're going to go through this guy's upper plate, because it can be awkward, and even the lower plate, but because of the derpy gun and how low his lower plate is, and how sort of a slim shot that is, I wanted to make sure I was going to pen it, because I didn't want to, you know, didn't want to muck up, generally. So we're going to go down here on the 2 line and hopefully find their camping TDs. Rossi's had a good time on the other flank. He's been fighting away at H5, and he's managed to do a fair whack of damage to people. And now there's just the 3 tanks left and artillery. The only thing for Rossi, though, is he's been in a position where artillery can have its wicked way with him, and the poor man's just going to lose his life to that artillery, as you're just going to watch that shell fly in from the right in any second now. And there he goes. That's the thing I like about the flank we've just been on, C2. And that is that when we're facing artillery, they generally don't fire that way, because there's very limited shots for them. And you can just get hull down and not have to deal with it, which is always great. So we're pulling up on this here to try and get some shots into the Tiger 2 and the Tiger 88, but we can't quite see them. There's the artillery. We want to get the revenge for Rossi, but I also want to keep moving forward to get as close to these guys as possible. And it's like, come on, GW Tiger, or GW Panther, sorry, just give me the shot. There we go. Yes, goodbye. Revenge! And we avenge the Rossi there. Now I know that because of how fast this gun reloads, I'm going to have time to reload before my team get here, because look how far behind me they are. So I'm just going to wait for the 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. Just wait for this shell to go in, and then I can get 2 shots into these guys and hopefully get some kills. So now we're loaded. We've got the premium in again to deal with this Jag 88, because we're going to struggle with 208 pen, and we go straight through him, and it's like, okay, Mr. Tiger 2, I'm going to ram you to death. Ram... No. Oh, this is awkward. I didn't kill it, and I ended up losing like 200 health. Tiger 2 is way heavier than this tank, apparently, and I still couldn't do 10 damage in ramming, but hey, it is what it is. Finished with 4.5k damage, 2k assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, 1974 base XP, 4 kills. Like I said, this tank is really nice, and it's devastating in those sorts of situations where you can just get hull down, keep dishing out the rounds, block all the shells, and then just get going. It is a brawler, and it can really get stuck into those brawls, and it's really nice for that. It's just a generally all-round really nice tank. As you see, the mobility is okay. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's just a heavy... It's heavy tank mobility, 35 kilometers an hour. And it is a heavy tank. It's not a mobile medium. And the armour is really good when you're hauled down. When you're out in the open, obviously the lower tiers are going to struggle with you, but the upper tiers are going to butcher you. But that's generally heavy tanks when they're -2 anyway, right? And the gun is a little bit derpy, but it hurts when it pens. If you make sure you're aiming the shots, you will do a fair whack of damage. I don't know, it's one of those tanks that is... I've had a lot of fun playing it so far. I think 20 games in or something like that. And it is really fun to play. You're going to be seeing a lot of them because it's dirt cheap for a premium heavy tank at the just more than 6k gold, which it's insane pricing. I couldn't believe it when I saw the price, to be honest with you. I saw the price for it and was like, what? 6,200 gold, whatever? Good lord, that's cheap. And it's because they've decided to make a discount for everyone on it. And yeah, like I say, because of the fact that it's really good, the fact that it's completely unchanged from PC, and people know the reputation it's got from PC, everyone's going to be on it. So, this is the second game, and this one we are using the single shot gun. And this is where I've got vents on the tank instead of the ammo swapper. And we're in a hull down position on Hidden Village. But the thing is, they've got a better position than we have. This position on Hidden Village on this side is really not actually that good. And you're going to, funnily enough, the next replay is on Hidden Village, but for the opposite side. You are going to notice just how much better their side of that ridge is because of the incline and how it affects this battle. So we've managed to get 2 shots in so far, 836 damage, and we've got this Progetto 54 that's been a nuisance. But then there's this Jagdpanther 2. Obviously, he's got a big gun. We want to slap the shells in. We've got a 130mm gun, so we easily go through the side of that guy, even though he was decently angled. And now we're waiting for the reload on it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and side scrape out a bit, but I'm not going to have the shot I need to go through this guy. Because we take a shot there and end up doing just track damage only. I don't know why I shot there. It was never going to work. He is actually stock, so I know that his gun's not going to be the best for penning us. So I'm like, you know what, actually, this guy is stock. I'm just going to take the risk. And unfortunately, he pens us. And we bounce. And in fact, actually, I don't think he penned us. I think the Oho actually penned us. But yeah, we bounce off his upper plate. We're aiming for the lower plate. We end up bouncing off the lower plate. This is where the 208 pen, as you've seen with just the tier 8 heavy, we're starting to struggle. When it comes to that Oho back there, I'm never penning that guy with a standard round, ever. But I'm pulling over, I'm just making sure that we're getting these shots in. That T32 is stock, by the way. He's got the stock turret, which was buffed recently. So it's not as trash as it used to be, because it only used to be 100mm of armor, but now it's 200, and if you catch the side, you can still pen it, unlike the fully upgraded turret. But we're taking the opportunity now where they're distracted to get that shot into that Progetto, because that Progetto unfortunately shut down, well, the SU-130PM from the back shut down Rossi, but we're making the most of when they're distracted. Unfortunately enough, the Jagdpanther 2 ends up missing us, or doing track damage only. We're just waiting for the reload. Now we're going to poke round and finish off the Progetto 54. Right here in this situation, I actually don't know if it would have been better to have the single shot or the autoloader. I think the autoloader would have been better for making sure we're getting, like, taking all these guys' health off them really quickly. But I think for the kind of engagement we've been in so far, this single shot has probably definitely been better. So the Oho shoots at us, unfortunately breaks our gun, which is really awkward. We just look at the Oho and it's like, it's not going to work. So we load the premium round because 248 pen is the only way we're probably going to be able to pen him. And unfortunately with a broken gun, it's going to make it really awkward. I'm trying to aim for the boob and we bounce. Yeah, 248 pen is still going to struggle with an Oho, but fortunately enough, the Tiger 2 pens him with his premium round, which has got like 289 pen, so he's easily going to destroy that guy. And we're just waiting for the reload so we can go and get the Jagdpanther 2, but the Jagdpanther 2 then gets shut down. It's like, well, okay, then I'm just going to go for this T32. We repair our gun with the repair kit, and we're going for the lower plate of the T32 because after that thing being buffed, we're not going to go through its upper plate. We get the shell into that, and then he shoots us, but, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll take that trade. We did, like, nearly 500 damage to him. He did 300 to us. We come over, finish off the TVP. Now there's only one tank left. It's the SU-130PM, but unfortunately, we're not quite going to get there. But we do finish the game with a nice total again for the tank, 4k damage. We blocked 2.2k damage on that ridgeline. The epic victory, 2 kills, that's like 4k damage, 2.2k blocked. Sniper, high caliber, first class, 1630 base XP. Trust me when I say that 2k base isn't going to be enough to ace this tank eventually. This tank is going to have a high ace requirement because it is a really damn nice tank. So we're on to the third game. This is the third game. We're on Hidden Village from the opposite side this time. Go figure, map rotation. And this time we're running the autoloader again. So that was how the single shot load. We'll start again. That was how the single shotgun did. We've already seen how the autoloader does, and it's the gun I prefer, so that's why I'm showing you 2 replays in that. Because, yes, the single shot is great for those sort of situations where you just need to keep pulling over, pumping the shot and pull back. But the double tap is just dirty. And this replay shows the strength of the double tap, to be perfectly honest with you, and just how good it is at demolishing tanks before they actually even realise that it's happening. Sure, the 3.5 second intro clip is long, but to be honest, you can make do with it, especially when you're on a ridgeline using the gun depression and all that. But not just that, just because of the alpha and how much you're slapping for at the tier, you can just make do with it. So we're going to push aggressively again on Hidden Village, and we're going to go to that same hill that we were on. And like I say, this side is far better than the other side for using this hill because of the ridgeline, because of the way the incline is. We can actually use our gun depression and armour far better on this ridgeline, and it will protect us far better than it will for them. And you are going to see exactly the same. This game has got 2 Skoda T56s in on our team and 4 on their team. And here we are, the barbarian hordes are approaching. So we get 1 into that Skoda T56, and before he can do anything, he's already lost most of his health. We've done 912 damage in those 3.5 seconds to him. There was no way he was going to react to that, and he's lost pretty much most of his health. This Emil then gets... Oh, poor Emil gets trashed. The Emil is one tank that is going to get wrecked by this tank because it's got like 30 or 40mm of spaced armour... Oh, 40mm of armour, sorry, on its side, which means we're just going to guaranteed pen him in the tracks every time. Which is why he got wrecked there, because they just trashed his drive wheels. But there, the Skoda T56 managed to get one shot in and bounce the other one off his upper plate because we shot at his upper plate at a weird angle, which meant that it ricocheted. The other T56 gets shut down, and now we're just waiting for the shells to go in. He ends up bouncing off our upper plate, like I say, because it's really well angled. And he's actually wiggling his turret to try and avoid the weak spot on his cupola. But he doesn't realise that the incline on his side is so much worse that we can just get pure shots straight into his upper plate. And we're shooting down slightly, so his armour isn't as effective. Like I say, this side, because of the way the incline is and the way it angles your armour, is so much better than the other side. And they have the disadvantage there. But now we're waiting for the reload again, and I want to go over and get this other Skoda on this side, but watch the heavy tanks, they look like they're coming over, and I don't want to get caught out and then poke around the corner and get shots into us, because the other one obviously is a Skoda T56, and if he has the autoloader, like I say, it's going to hurt. We get a shot straight into the lower plate of the T29 as well, though we low-rolled like a mad lad there, through like 340 odd, less than that. Ouch, that's a low roll. But yeah, we hurt both those tanks quite significantly again. Like I say, we're just waiting for the reload to go and do it all over again. The Skoda T56 ends up shutting down the guy next to us again. And it's like, right, okay, I want to get these guys. I want to get this Skoda. I want to get rid of this Skoda. But we make a mistake. We try and get a shot into his drive wheel, but he's in a good position for his tank there, where I'm having to overexpose and get shots into him. And it's like, okay, no, play smarter, play smarter. We can't over-peak and keep trying to get slim shots into him while giving him perfect shots into us. So we're going to change up the angle. We're going to go over this side of the ridge because we know that there's nothing next to this rock that's going to poke out and shoot us. And I want to try and get side shots into the Skoda. That T29 actually pokes out. We've caught them at the worst time. Unfortunately, we only do track damage, but we're going to make sure this shot goes through his upper plate, and we poke that in for 487, which is a nice roll. Like I say, this tank slaps. It really does. This 130mm gun is really nice at brawling, and you do just... It's the alpha damage at the tier, right? That sort of alpha damage on a heavy that's got decent armour, decent mobility, decent everything, to be honest, and more than decent, is going to be really, really effective. So I'm trying to get above these guys now, and that T29 has clearly run away, and it's like, right, okay, this is going to be perfect. We're going to ambush them. They're not going to expect this. So we get over, get one shot into the Skoda T56. He ends up getting shut down by my friendly Skoda T56, and the other one is preoccupied with him. So we're slapping another shell into that guy so that he is a one-shot, and that means that we only have to go over and finish him off in a second. That is the thing. If you're facing another one of these tanks and they have a double shot and you have the single shot, you're probably going to lose most of the time unless you manage to somehow bounce them, because they will pop round, do the two shots, you'll get one shot into them, and then they can just wait and get two more shots into you. It's so filthy. But this Skoda doesn't expect me to do this. We end up getting the big shot in to finish him off, and we've got one shell left for this T29. It's like, come here, Mr. T29. Oh, he's just pulling back and giving us an awkward angle. And unfortunately, the derpy gun handling ends up hitting his upper plate, which means we bounce. So we're just going to have to wait for the reload again to go shut him down. We're on 684 hit points though, which is enough to deal with this guy. He's only one shot for us, and we're a 2 or 3 shot for him. And we're just going to side scrape off this little rock right now, if I drive better. Just so we can try and ricochet his shell, which we do. I wanted to track him in place there to make it easy for me to pen him. But unfortunately, we didn't track him, but we do get to go around and slam the shot in anyway to finish him off. Now this SU-152 is coming up, and it's like, I'm going to be able to reload before this guy gets up. And I know it's tier 7. I'm going to absolutely trash him if he decides to attack me. So what we do is we're going to go hug this rock, make it so that we'll get spotted at the last second. We are reloaded. So we get one shell in, 463, and we two-shot the poor SU. That poor guy got absolutely wrecked, and that's just the power of this tank against lower tiers as well. They just can't do much against us, unfortunately, on that one. There was no hope for that guy. So there's 3 tanks left. There's me and this TD. We know exactly where all 3 of them are. The IS is on this side, so I'm going to try and get up behind the IS. We can't quite see the Emil, and I know the medium tank is at E9, whatever, so we're trying to get behind the IS, but unfortunately, the IS has actually run away and gone straight into the TD. And the Yahtzee shuts him down, so we can't quite get the IS, but we know where the Emil is. He was looking at us. There he is. We try and pop a shot on there, but I know I can just overmatch this Emil. It doesn't matter how he angles, and we get that shell straight in and shut down the Emil 1. Now there's only 1 tank left. We switched to APCR because we've only got 1 shell of AP left, and we're going to go after the T-3485. But he's actually sat in front of this Yeah, see, he doesn't know I'm here. I'm just going to wait for this reload to go in so I can try my best to try and finish him off. I want to finish him off. I know I've had a few kills, but unfortunately, we don't get the shot in, and we finish the game with a very, very nice total for the tank. It is a really good tank. We finished with the victory. 5 kills, 5.5k damage, 640 blocked. Ace tanker, high caliber sniper, and 2.1k base XP. This tank is a really damn nice tank. It's really enjoyable, and it's really cheap. So, is it worth it? I'd say probably hell yes. It's just how cheap it is, and the fact that it's actually a pretty damn solid tank. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!